GM to YouTube. Unexpected bonus video. There's a problem with the Castle Wars update. Castle Wars, if you missed it, last update, got a bunch of changes to make it improved, better to play, bunch of different things. But the main thing that matters is they increase the amount of tickets you get, and then they added these Castle Wars supply crates that you can now buy. You can get 1 Castle Wars supply crate per ticket. You get 2 tickets on a loss. You get 4 tickets on a win. So you're getting an average of 3 tickets a game. So 3 of these crates. What do these crates have? Well, they actually have about 60k in loot in them. You have a bunch of blighted supplies, blood runes, death runes, nature runes, soul runes, rune javelins, rune arrows, and coins. These are both alks. So that's nice. That's just raw GP. If you're an Ironman, these are very good. The reason they added these crates is, hey, just a little bit of profit, encourage people to play the minigame. You get a little bit of something for your time instead of literally nothing. Sounds great. Surely that's a great addition to the game. And there's nothing that could be abused about this. Wrong! You're wrong. There's a major problem. The problem is that this requires nothing. There's no requirements in Castle Wars. You don't need a combat level. You don't need total levels. You don't need quest points. You get where I'm going with this? You can go get supply crates as a fresh level 3 off Tutorial Island, no matter what your account build is. Got a new Ironman? You want some GP? Oh, I could go to the Stronghold of Security. No, you know what? I think I'll go over here and AFK. Yeah, this seems good. This gives me a minimum of 120k in loot, a maximum of 240k. This seems pretty good. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this. If you're an Ironman, you can go sell those arrows and javelins to different shops that give you alk value. Just come here and come get loot on a fresh Ironman. Now, the other problem, besides Ironman getting a huge boost early, which isn't that big of a deal, I think the main issue is the bots. Some info has come out about Soul Wars. Soul Wars is like the most botted activity in the game, apparently, because Jagex has stated there have been 1.2 million pets, and the most obtained pet is the Lil Creator. So Soul Wars is actually a relatively recent addition to the game. The Lil Creator pet from Soul Wars, which is not actually a super rare pet in comparison to some others, but a relatively recent, like in the grand scheme of pets, pet is the most common pet. It's from a side minigame that not a lot of people play. How can that be? That's because there's massive armies of bots at Soul Wars. Massive armies. There are bots everywhere all the time. If you hop around, you will find eventually a pack of them. This is a screenshot of the bots. If you haven't seen them, if you go to Soul Wars and hop around, you'll eventually find this in a world. Bunch of guys with scimitars or sulfur blades. These are all bots, likely all owned by the same bot runner. So this is like 50 to 100 bots on one world. Every single world is being run like this. Every single world has this many bots. And they've actually apparently banned a good chunk of them, like semi-recently, but this is what it looks like still. Because Soul Wars has very low requirements, and it gives you, if we go pull up the page for Spoils of War, a very similar looking item, 76k. And these crates take 30 zeal. You get around 20 zeal a game, and the games are very fast. They take like 3 minutes. So these bots are getting 1.5 crates. The bots are getting a crate every 5 minutes, roughly, something like that. And it's 76k. And it's very similar. Again, bunch of dragon gear, very rare. You can get straight up coins. This has a wider variety of stuff. You can get raw fish, those same runes. You can get bolts, which you can't get from Castle Wars. There's the arrows again. Coal, mithril, rubies, diamonds, soul runes, rune armor, rune ore, key halves, etc., etc. This is very good money. And you'll know if you've played an Ironman recently or started one recently, that it's kind of the play to come here at like 500 total level, because Soul Wars actually requires 500 total level. So coming here as soon as you get 500 total level, just to get heaps of gold in soul runes, which you can sell for gold, rune arrows, which you can sell for gold, rune armor, coins, like a bunch of things that give you gold. Really good idea. Really good idea. Not to mention the useful stuff like nature runes, death runes, blood runes, like all of that is really useful very early. The rubies and diamonds also. Like a lot of stuff here is just useful besides just raw GP. But you come here for raw GP. The problem with Castle Wars is there is no requirement. There is no requirement at all. So if there's these massive farms of bots, what is going to happen to Castle Wars, which has 0 requirements? You can actually even use the minigame teleport immediately off Tutorial Island. Get off Tutorial Island, minigame teleport, boom, you're doing Castle Wars. The only requirement to do Castle Wars is Tutorial Island, which is insane. This also got stated on a different blog post. I don't know if Jagex just doesn't know, or they have to know, right? They said this was in regards to reworking loot tables at some point. is that we've been taking a close look at loot tables, and some drop rates just don't add up. Worms dropping 6 million blood runes in a week. Firewatch Sentinels contributing 9 million. Seems fine. But Nomad dishing out 33 million? Yeah, that's a bit much. Does that mean Soul Wars is our greatest contributor for blood runes in the entire game? Is that why blood runes have gone down so much? Because Soul Wars exists? I think so. I think that would explain that. I actually found a comment from someone who ran these bots. They said that they were getting 18 mil every 10 minutes for a full lobby. So if we take 18 times, there's 6 lots of 10 in an hour, that's 108 mil every hour for these lobbies of bots in Soul Wars. That's pretty good. That's not bad. So it's like, no, the incentive is very, very clear. The requirements are very, very low. And then you add Castle Wars crates, which honestly might have better loot. It's concentrated into better items. The blighted supplies aren't worth a ton. They're still pretty good, but these runes are what matters. These are what are valuable. And then the alchables and coins are what's valuable, more so than some of the items at Soul Wars. And then you're getting 2 to 4 of these every game. A game of Castle Wars is 20 minutes with a 5-minute waiting period, okay? So you get 2 to 4 crates every 25 minutes. There's no way to game that, as far as I know. It's always going to be 20 minutes. There's no way to end early like Soul Wars. So I think that's actually less loot you're going to get than from Soul Wars. It's just the problem is it's no requirements at all, which is insane. There's also a very common thing with LMS. A lot of people know on Ironman, you go to LMS for the rewards, not only to get a rune pouch, but also to get rune arrows, which you can buy, which are just good for GP. And would you believe that LMS has the same problem where it's just riddled with bots? Very similar problem. LMS is actually 750 total level requirement. So it's quite a bit higher than these. And you still see bots out the wazoo there. So what is Castle Wars going to look like in 2 weeks when all the players playing it, a lot of people are hyped and just AFKing for loot right now. What is going to happen in 2 weeks when these players stop being hyped and stop AFKing, and you see hundreds of bots descend on Castle Wars? I'm pretty worried about it. I don't think this is healthy for the game. I don't think this is a good thing whatsoever. I think Jagex needs a wake-up call on this, because they keep doing this with different minigames. They make them profitable to increase your interaction with the minigame. And what actually ends up happening is nobody's playing the minigame still, and they're abusing it for rewards. Nobody's playing Soul Wars. Okay, there's probably someone out there playing Soul Wars. There's probably like under 50 people somewhere enjoying Soul Wars, having a blast. Very, very tiny margin of the player base. The rest are leeching for points, doloing for points, or botting for points. It's the same thing with LMS. There's a small... LMS actually has a decently sized community. There's a lot of people that legitimately play LMS. But how often are... I just won, by the way. I got 4 tickets. Cool. How often are these players getting mired in their games by bots? We've seen... If you've ever played LMS, they have these Terminator bots that perfectly switch. They play perfectly, perfect prayer switches, and it's very, very difficult to kill them. And you run into these. And then there's the bots that just run up to you and die, which isn't very satisfying either. So if you want to go play LMS, you have to trudge through all of these bots to even enjoy the minigame. So when you put these, you can see people are already advertising. Very cool. Castle Wars. Love to see it. You can see these people adding these rewards to the minigames doesn't even make them better. Even if you're enjoying the minigames, there's bots, there's people leeching, there's all this crap that comes with profitability. If LMS didn't have any like GP incentive, there'd still be people playing it. They just wouldn't be running into bots. So you're actively like hampering these minigames that already not a lot of people were doing anyways. I don't really get the point. I don't get it. Let's check out what loot I got from those 4. Just curious. Where's the guy? Here he is. All right, let's buy 5. Okay, I got my 4. You get tickets in addition, so it's like a slightly separate currency, but effectively each ticket gives you one roll at a crate. So what are we getting here? 40 blighted Caramon, 180 nature runes, 193 rune arrows, 24 more blighted manta rays, 102 rune javelins. We're up to almost 400 nature runes. There's 83 blood runes, another 200 arrows, another 40 blighted Caramon, 130 soul runes, 4 blighted restores, and another lot of nature runes. I almost got 600 nature runes from that one game. Seriously. 130 soul runes. How much GP is this? Let's say we're on an Ironman. 100k in the rune arrows, 24k in the soul runes, 24k in the javelins, 150k gold. 150k gold, and the natures to alch it all if I wanted to. Plus blood runes, plus the blighted supplies. Not to mention, if you want, you can actually go into Castle Wars, bring splashing gear, bring an air staff, and you can actually splash on people in the game. So if you've got a buddy you want to do this with, or you want to just like cast at people randomly, you actually can get mage XP. Sweet. So like early on in an account, when the mage level matters a lot, so you can go kill things. Let's go here. Let's get GP. Immediately use said GP to go buy runes and just immediately start splashing straight off Tutorial Island. It's bonkers. I don't know how they didn't think of this. It's crazy to me as well. I actually didn't look at the poll. If we go to the history, here it is, poll 83. This actually, I did not vote in this poll. And this is a big call to arms for anyone who's ignoring a poll. You should check every single poll just to see if there's something that's like, hey, that's not good. I didn't vote in the Castle Wars poll. I don't care about Castle Wars. I don't interact with it. I had no take on it. I didn't mind if it was improved for people, but I had no interest in voting on it. But look what snuck through. Should we add reward crates to Castle Wars as described in the blog? These would be separate from Castle Wars tickets and offer things like runes, ammunition, and blighted supplies. Passed 88%. It wasn't even close. I didn't vote on this. Oh my God, I could have had a say on this. I could have talked about it. I didn't even see it. I didn't think about it. Not even one bit. This poll didn't get a ton of votes either. 60,000, that's not like a huge number. So I think a lot of people were in the same boat. They had no clue that anything from Castle Wars could be changing anything or matter. Well, guess what? The Ironman meta has completely changed and bots are going to be lowering the value of everything that these crates drop. All of these runes, even further, will go down in value, and coins in general will be devalued. Cool. Love to see it. Also, these blighted supplies are going to go way down, so that's good for you. Like, if you want to go in the wildy, these are going to get way cheaper. Huge. Love to see it. Oh, man. What needs to be done here? Honestly, I think you just remove these crates. You can leave the changes you had for Castle Wars that make it better. That's fine. Just remove the crates. This is crazy. Also, frankly, I think you should remove things like rune arrows from LMS's drop table, and you should remove things like the huge amount of loot at Soul Wars. Like, I don't really understand, and I know people are gonna be like, but it makes life so much easier when I can go to LMS and get rune arrows. It makes life so much easier when I can dolo Soul Wars. I know. You could just skip huge chunks of the game by going to these places. And bots take very little time to create and get running for massive amounts of GP immediately. And it's ruining these pieces of content. I think Jagex needs to seriously evaluate what they're doing. It's crazy to me that this made it in the game at all when they've had data. They have clear data showing that Soul Wars is being gamed. It's being gamed to ridiculous levels by bots, leeches. People are abusing this content. If the fun of a minigame on its own does not merit people playing it, then that's okay. Like, it's not the end of the world. You don't need to shove GP incentive onto everything. It doesn't help the game. It makes it worse. It actively hinders the game. I would also urge the community to double check their polls and look at every poll, everything that gets asked, because this slipped through the crack and nobody thought about it. Nobody thought about it. Nobody was thinking about how reward crates are a problem from minigames. Nobody was thinking about it. If less people failed the poll like I did and actually looked and thought about it for more than 10 seconds, maybe this would have failed the poll and it wouldn't have gone in like this. But now it's up to Jagex to fix it. Like, they screwed up. Now it's their turn to fix it. We should be catching stuff in polls and not allowing this to go through. That's on me. That's on me and anybody who didn't look at this poll. I don't know how no one noticed it. The answer to this is not add a level requirement, by the way, because like I just said, LMS 750 total level still has heaps of bots. I think it also has a quest point requirement. It doesn't matter. Like, it's full of bots anyways. No, you got to remove these crates. You got to remove this. Just isn't okay. It's just not okay. Holy, holy, holy. All right. That's it. Let me know in the comments below if you guys are taking advantage of this. Anybody making any new gims, having fun on new irons? This is definitely the place to be right now, for sure. So I've heard a lot of people like starting up gims and that kind of thing and like taking advantage. Let me know if that's what you're doing. Leave a like if you liked it and or subscribe. Bye. Laters.